right knee here. Watch as I go to pass this ball. Watch how it goes forward and down. What elevates the ball? My arms. It's not my legs. Watch. I pivot through and I lift the ball up with my arms. Pivot through, lift the ball up with my arms. Pivot through, lift the ball up with my arms. What you're doing is you're cutting the ball. It's coming right off your arms, and that's how you use your arms correctly. When we pass, we pivot sideways, we pivot forward, and we can even come back, but you always have to backspin a ball. And this is one of the ways we do it, is from your knees. Remember, pivot into the ball when you go to pass the ball like that, and you're going to become a better passer. Let me give you a digging tip here. The two most common issues I see when people dig are the exact same two issues when they pass. The first thing they do is they start moving their arms. This is a violation of the rule of ball control. Remember, when the ball's 30 feet away from you or a second and a half, whichever comes first, you can't move your arms in relation to your upper body. So when you're digging, you want to avoid swinging your arms. You don't want to bring your arms up and down because you're really going to lose control of the ball. What you're much better off doing is keeping them like this so you can bend into them. Don't move your arms. Keep them locked on this spot here on the court. Second thing you don't want to do, and this is the bigger error of the two, is you don't want to jump up as you're digging. And again, I see this among all young and inexperienced players, is if they do it when they pass, you're going to do it when you dig, and it really creates problems. So when you start digging, the big error is jumping up. That is what you do wrong. You start sending the ball, up to the roof here, and it bounces off, and you never get a set, or you never get to hit the ball. So let me show you the correct way to dig here. When you dig, you want to have your feet parallel. The reason you don't want to have a foot forward is because you'd start influencing the ball forward and over in this direction, or forward and over in this direction. So keep your feet parallel. Turn your toes in, and you want to make sure that you're going forward and towards the person that's hitting the ball. So the correct way to do this is I'm going to teach you how to dig, and I'm going to overcorrect what you tend to do wrong. So your arms are going to be out like this, and I'm going to have you bend over and touch the ground as you dig. Watch, here's what it looks like. Bend right over, touch the ground like this. Bend, touch the ground. Notice how I'm not jumping up, but I'm bending into the ball. The biggest advantage of this is how you control power. When balls are coming at you hard, you want to collapse on them. The part of the body that's collapsing on the ball is your waist. Bend into them. Let me show you again. Bend into the ball just like this. Bend over, touch the ground. If you bend into digs, you're going to become a better digger by virtue of not adding power, and you're going to start adding control. Bend into the digs. I always tell people when they're digging a ball or when they're passing a ball, don't jump up. But guess what? Sometimes balls come right up here, and they're going to hit you in this midsection. It kind of catches you in a funny spot. In other words, it's too low to pass, and it's way too low for you to take with your hands. So what you have to do is you have to learn how to cut these balls and backspin them. We have one joint that we do this in particular, and that's our upper body. You'll see players do this all the time. But what happens is when we keep our arms high, one more time, right in front of our face, really high, you'll see us cut the ball and we bring them up. In other words, just as I contact the ball, I bend over like this. Just as I contact the ball, as I bend over, I bring my arms up. That's one of the two ways of doing this. The other way that you'll see us do this is we have our arms out, and you'll see us skip back like that. You'll actually see players throw their arms and legs back, and that elevates and that backspins the ball, and that's how you control it. Remember, if you have to jump up, you got to backspin the ball. That's how you put control on it. And the last joint available to do that is right up here. Arms high, facing your target, and your shoulders come over your feet as you bend. Like this. Cut the ball. Let me show you how to chase down balls here when you're playing the sport of volleyball. At times, we're running all over the place, but you have to remember two things when you're chasing balls down. One, where your shoulders are facing at all times, and two, you can't move your arms. Remember what I said, whenever the ball is 30 feet away from you or a second and a half, whichever comes first, you can't move your arms. So when you're facing a target like this, when you turn, you got to make sure that your shoulders are always on the target. In other words, as you turn, they're always facing. This is what experienced players and specifically setters are so adept at, is keeping their shoulders locked on that point where they want to pass a ball. It doesn't matter whether they're diving to the floor, running back to the end of the gym, their shoulders are always facing on the target. The second part of this is when your arms are here, as you turn, you can't move your arms. That's a violation of the rule of ball control. When you keep your arms up facing the target and you're chasing a ball, you're going to go after it, your shoulders are going to be on the target, you're not going to move your arms, and this is how we get such optimal control on these balls that we're chasing down. Let me show you real quick. Don't move your arms, shoulders on the target as you turn. Don't move your arms, shoulders on your target as you turn. Remember we talked about passing. I said when we want to put control on a ball, you want to put spin on it. Well, guess what? Now we're on the other side of the court, and when I want you serving, I don't want you to spin the ball for a simple reason. I don't want you to put control on it. I want you to serve a ball without spin. That way you take all the control off of it. Let me show you the first step in serving a good float serve. The first thing I do is I find this pesky needle right here. What I do is I point it away from me so I'm not going to hit it with my wrist. If you do this, the reason why is this weighs more. The ball will move more effectively if it's pointing straight away from you as opposed to down or on the side. The second thing I do is I like lining these panels up so we don't spin the ball. You won't catch one of these seams in the ball and spin it. So I like putting these panels vertically, not horizontally. Next thing you do is you have to get your starting motion down. So if you're right-handed, what I suggest you do is put your left foot forward and start the ball out in your left hand like this. Put your arm up, and this is how you should start right here. You want to minimize all your movement. In other words, half a step, half a toss, half an arm swing, halfway through your serving motion. Don't start like this. Don't throw the ball up. Don't take a 2 or 3 step approach, but minimize everything. That's why you make errors. So half a step, half a toss, half an arm swing. If you can start like this, the next thing you have to learn how to do for our younger players is to learn how to toss the ball and step at the same time. What I see everybody do is they throw the ball up and then they step, or they step and then throw the ball up. What you have to learn how to do is to do this simultaneously. Throw the ball as you step. That increases your power, and now you're going towards the court when you serve. Make sure you step with your left foot half a step more. Start like this, step. What I suggest you don't do is to come around with your right foot, because now you're going to be goofy-footed, serving with your right arm and your right foot forward. Next thing you want to do is where you contact the ball. If you want to spin a ball, you'll hit it up here. But if you want to take spin off a ball, make sure you hit it right here, right on these 2 bones of your hand. The difference is one is a slap, one is a thud. You want to make sure that you thud these serves, don't slap them. So the next thing you want to do is you want to serve out of your elbow. You don't want to serve out of your shoulder. Remember what I said, when you're serving, you want to snap here, and hit here. We don't want to hit balls when we serve, we want to snap them. So the way that you learn this, and the way that I suggest you do this for a number of months here, is to start like this, serve a ball, but what you're going to do is you're going to keep your hand up like this. What that does is it takes this joint out of the equation. When you serve a ball like this and you stop your hand, you're forcing all the action into your elbow. That's how you indent the ball. When you serve a ball, the goal is to indent the ball. When the ball goes in and it comes out, that's how you make these balls wobble and move all over the place. So you want to snap them from your elbow. So again, the overcorrection is to start like this, throw it up, snap, and pull your hand back. You're going to be waving hello to your victims as you serve these balls because they're such great serves. Start like this, up, snap, pull your hand back. Not only do you get good snap, but you also get what we call extension. That's how you serve balls over the net effectively. Nothing shuts down a team like a good effective jump serve. The key is, though, is you really want to overpower the opponent. There are 4 tips that I'm going to give you here for jump serving. And what you have to do, it's really an extension of hitting. The question I get a lot is, hey coach, when should I start jump serving? The answer is when you can hit well. If you don't hit well, do not try to jump serve because you're going to make too many errors and give up a point every time you miss a serve. So the answer is when you start hitting well, then I suggest you start jump serving. Given that, let me give you a couple suggestions for jump serving. The first is start the ball out in front of you like this. A mistake I see a lot of players do is they bring the ball down like this and they start throwing it back up. If you start the ball out here like this, you're going to get a better toss. One of the most important parts of the jump serve is the set itself. You're setting yourself. What I found is you get a much better toss if you start the ball right here. Second thing you have to do, and this is the most common error that I see for jump servers, is they throw the ball too low. If you throw the ball low, you're going to restrict your hitting motion. If you throw the ball low, you're not jump serving, you're jump floating. Make sure you throw the ball high here. So the trick that you have to learn is how to throw the ball high when you're like this. You have to get the ball way up in the air. I mean way up in the air. Don't underestimate how far you're going to throw the ball up in the air. Third thing that you really have to concentrate on is to jump into the court. Too many times when I see players back here, they start jumping here and they land here. You have to make sure that when you're jumping and you're hitting the ball, you're taking off from about right here, and you got to make sure that you're landing in the court. If you're a girl, you should be landing about right here, and the boys and the men, you should be landing about right here. Irregardless of your gender, you have to make sure that you have to take off just behind the end line here. You can't step on it, otherwise that's a violation. So to jump serve better, what I suggest you do, start the ball here, throw it nice and high, and make sure you land in the court. That's going to help your jump serving. Minimize the effect, and you're going to be a great jump server. Maybe throw it too low. Twice as high. Start the ball up like this. There you go. Start the ball up, throw it high, land in the court. Start the ball up, throw it twice as high this time, land in the court. That was perfect. There you go. See how you landed in the court that time? Yeah. How did I know that was going to be good? When we play defense, defense is a matter of knowing what not to watch when we're digging a ball. In other words, guys, whenever we play volleyball, any sport, there's always certain things we watch and things we tend to avoid. In playing defense, the art of playing great defense is knowing what not to watch. What defenders have a tendency to do is they watch two things in air. The first is they watch the ball coming out of the setter's hands, and the second thing is they tend to watch the block too much. The first thing we do when we know who the hitter is we start watching their eyes. And what I mean by that is we have a sequence here when we play defense. First, we watch the passer's arms. That tells us if the ball's coming over the net. If a passer's arms are down like this, you better get ready to receive an overpass. It's coming your way. Second thing that we watch is the setter. And we watch these setters like hawks. All 6 players in the court are watching the setter whether they're going to set the ball. The next thing we watch is once we know who the hitter is, we start watching 3 things. The hitter, and of course, the hitter. Once we know who the hitter is, we watch one thing in particular, and that's their eyes and their face. That gives away when they're hitting. Great hitters have